My name's Pete Unsworth and I work in Human Resources Development at the University of Salford in the Digital Skills team, and I'm going to give you a brief demonstration and overview about Blackboard Collaborate. This is aimed at ITS technicians who may be called upon by members of staff at the university if they can't get Collaborate to work on their machine. So, to begin with, I need to let you know that Blackboard Collaborate used to be known as Illuminate Live, and it was predominantly used within the School of the Built Environment and some schools in the health faculty up until 2012, when it was purchased by Blackboard and renamed as Blackboard Collaborate, and they made some changes to the interface as well. So since 2012, the university purchased a site-wide license so that all schools at the university and all members of staff now have access to Collaborate if they require. And in HRD, we've made it incumbent on all academic staff who are using it in a student-facing role to be given training prior to the use of Blackboard Collaborate. As ITS technicians, you're not expected to know how to use Collaborate in great detail, but you need to know of its existence and just a few basic functionalities. Academic staff will be using Collaborate in pool rooms where they can record live lectures, or they can indeed use it for actually holding a live web conference with people externally of the university. They also may be called to use Collaborate on their own office PC if they're holding online meetings. So you may be called to use Collaborate or to assist with Collaborate if there are issues in getting it going on people's machines. So Blackboard Collaborate is an online web conferencing tool focused in higher education, and it's used for delivering classes online. And you can hold meetings of any type. You can even pre-record lecture material and you can attend conferences and seminars online. Its predominant use at Salford historically has been for delivering classes online, but we're going to be encouraging all staff to start using it in lots of other ways over the next 12 months or so. The main benefits for the university are in extending its geographical reach so that we can start teaching students anywhere in the world, and it helps build a sense of community, particularly with distance learning students who never meet face to face. It's got major cost savings in attending meetings online rather than incurring travelling expenses. And one of the benefits for students is that recording classes in Collaborate allows them to access the recordings at any time, which is fantastic for revision purposes. So this is the graphical user interface of Collaborate, and as you can see, it's split into various sections. You've got the main content window, which takes up most of the interface. In this window, you can load presentations, you can share applications, and you can also do web tours. The panels on the left are basically the control panels where you control the functionality. The top left is the audio and video panel, in which you've got your microphone and your button to switch on your webcam. You can also change the levels of the microphone and speakers. The middle section on the left is the participants panel, in which anyone that's logged into the session, their name appears in this panel, and you've got discrete icons next to their name telling you what tools they are currently using in the session. The bottom left panel is a chat box in which participants can send messages to each other and to the moderator The moderator is the term given to the person that's controlling the session. So as I've already explained, as IT technicians, you don't particularly need to know any functionality. One thing is useful for you to spot is the load content button at the top right of the screen. If that doesn't appear in a moderator's interface, it means they've not logged on to Collaborate as a moderator and take action to do so. Collaborate is being used currently at the university in various ways, and at the moment there are about 20 postgraduate distance learning programs between SOBI and Health, and most of those sessions are delivered during the evening because by definition the distance learners are working individuals and they study during the evening. But it's also used for international research projects. And as I've already mentioned, we're trying to roll out online personal tuition, where we're encouraging staff to do personal tuition online, particularly for distance learners, but not necessarily so. And we're also encouraging staff to be using it in everyday meetings, substituting meetings, face-to-face meetings for online meetings. And in some schools they're currently using it to run virtual open days in which prospective students meet online, meet the program directors in Collaborate, and we try to recruit students in that way. So hopefully in not the too distant future, more and more staff will be using Collaborate. Collaborate is integrated into Blackboard, and all academic staff are trained in how to create Collaborate sessions in a module within Blackboard, so that any students who are registered to that module can get access to the live sessions that are due to take place, and also any recordings of previous sessions. So within a module, a member of staff would have created a Collaborate link in the menu items on the left hand side, and clicking that Collaborate link will then open up this Collaborate list page. And as you can see, there are two tabs, one for sessions that are coming up and one for recordings of previous sessions. A key thing to note is that sessions that are due to take place, the links that are listed in the list page only become live approximately 30 minutes by default prior to the session start time. This gives students about 30 minutes and the moderator to log into the session and get themselves settled, ready for the actual start time of the event. So each session that is created by the member of staff gets its own unique URL to that session, and that URL can be emailed to people who haven't got university credentials to log into Blackboard. So that's a backdoor route of getting into a Collaborate session, and that can be very useful, particularly if it's right at the beginning of semester where students may not have rolled or finished their enrolment properly. It's also useful to send out to perhaps guest lecturers that want to join the actual Collaborate session, and obviously those guest lecturers can't log into Blackboard with their own credentials. And it's also worth noting that during a live session, people can be invited into the session by a tool within Collaborate called in-session invitation, which generates an email which can be sent off to somebody that wants to get into the session during the live session. Once you click a link to give you access into a live session, whether it is from an email or whether from the Blackboard module, the same dialog box opens, inviting you to open or save your file. Now, by default, it should go to open, and you open it with Java Web Start, which is the Java application which is associated with Collaborate. And the unique URL to the session is downloaded in this small file. It's only 8 kilobytes in size, and it's called a JNLP file. So this then launches Java Web Start, which in turn then launches the Collaborate session. And right at the beginning of the launch sequence, you get the option to select how you are connecting to Blackboard Collaborate. So as you can see, there's a drop-down box inviting you to connect. It defaults to wireless, but if you're on a local area network or if you're on an ISDN line, you've got those options too. Now this makes changes to the software, which allows for the best transmission rate to give you the best experience during your session. So this is quite crucial to set this accordingly at the beginning of your session. If Collaborate has not been used before on a particular PC, it's recommended that you go to the Collaborate support portal, in which an automatic check is run on your machine to check that you've got a supported operating system and a supported version of Java. And this support portal can be easily found just by doing a web search for Blackboard Collaborate support. If you haven't got a particular version of Java, it will direct you to download it and install on the PC, and then you need to do the check once more. Once you've got the 2 ticks indicating that you've got the supported Java version and operating system, you can go on to the next step, which is logging into a configuration room. Step 2 takes you into the configuration. The current version is version 12.5, but you will just select whichever is the current version on the website. And this opens up into a Collaborate session, which then would indicate that everything's okay on your machine, and you can proceed to joining your university session. On this web page as well, in step 3, you've got all the training material and all the resources which you can learn how to use Collaborate if you are a student, or indeed if you're a member of staff and you want to learn about a particular functionality of Collaborate. And this web page also gives you access to the support team of Collaborate, in which you can call them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for technical support. Collaborate recommend that you use a headset with integrated headphones and microphone when communicating in Collaborate. And there is a tool within Collaborate called the Audio Setup Wizard, which helps you connect your headset device to the Collaborate session. And this should be used each and every time a new session is started. Running the Audio Setup Wizard allows you to select which output device, i.e. which speaker system you are using, and it also allows you to test that you can hear sound through that particular one that you've chosen. If you can't hear sound through that particular device, choose an alternative device from the output device window and retry until you do successfully hear some sound coming through your speakers. And obviously it's important that you connect your device to the computer prior to starting the Audio Setup Wizard. Once you've set up your speaker part of your system, the next phase of the Audio Setup Wizard concentrates on the input device or microphone. And again, you're given a selection of devices that your computer has. You need to make a selection and then press the record button and speak into the microphone for about 5 seconds or so, and play that recording back to you. Obviously, if you get your recording played back, you know you've successfully chosen the correct device. If you don't, just choose an alternative device and go through the process again. So just to reiterate, you need to go through the audio setup wizard each and every time a Collaborate session is started. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about problems that may occur when trying to launch Collaborate sessions. So one of the first problems that may occur is that you get an error message saying connection failed, and this indicates that the PC is failing to connect to the Collaborate server, and this can be brought about by an active connection being dropped, particularly if you're on a wireless connection. Any security software is blocking the connection, or a router or network device is blocking the connection. You've got certain rules that prevent your connection over ports, or proxy preventing connections. Now these latter ones I know are not relevant for the university because all our ports and proxies are set so that Collaborate can be accessed. So in general, if you do get this connection failed, it's more likely to be the fact that you've not got an active internet connection. When troubleshooting the connection failed, the first thing you need to establish is that you've got a good network connection. And one of the things you can do to check that is by going to the link that's on the screen to go to the Collaborate configuration room. Or indeed you can just simply go to it by doing a web search for Blackboard Collaborate support and going to step 2, the configuration room. If you do get access to the configuration room, then you know that everything's okay on your connection. And if indeed you can't get access to the configuration room, then you need to check further into the possibility that security software is stopping the connection, or that ports are blocking, which is unlikely at the university, as I previously mentioned. Another error message that is possible to get is the unable to launch application message. Now this relates to the Java resource files which are required to run Collaborate, and it's often caused by a problem with the Java cache itself or the deployment folder, and it could be a case that the Java cache is full or that it's been corrupted in some way. So to troubleshoot the unable to launch application error message, you must do these check these things in order. First thing you need to do is check that you've got, again, a connection to the internet. But more likely scenario is that your Java cache has been corrupted, in which case you need to clear your Java cache, and you do that by going into Control Panel and finding the Java Control Panel and just delete its temporary files. Now doing that and relaunching Collaborate normally works. The clear Java cache is basically a default solution to most of the problems that you will encounter, and that normally works straight away. If however it still doesn't work, the next thing that you would want to do is delete and reinstall Java completely. And then further down the line, if that doesn't work, again you're going into the realm of checking your computer firewalls and routers and proxy settings. But as I've already mentioned, those are set at the university to allow Collaborate to work, and they're usually not blocked. Now, on very rare occasions, it's possible to get error messages related to the installation of Java Web Start itself. Now, Java Web Start's crucial to the running of Collaborate. It ensures that the latest version of Collaborate is downloaded and installed. Now, this is normally related to the fact that you don't have the correct permissions to install the software on your particular computer, but it could be related to the fact that there's not enough disk space, or the computer needs computer meets minimum system requirements. Both of these latter things are very unlikely on modern computers, however. So it's essentially checking that you've got a stable internet connection and checking that you've got permissions to install the software itself. And one other thing with the Java Web Start application, I found in the past that sometimes it becomes disassociated. The JNLP file, that is, becomes disassociated from the Java Web Start itself, in which case what you need to do is go through the process of reassociating the JNLP file with the Java Web Start software. The screenshot that you can see is how you access the set associations, and it's in default programs. This is in Windows 7. In other versions of Windows it will be different. So if your JNLP file launches a text editor, for instance, which I've seen before, the simple thing to do is just do the file reassociation. So finally, the last error message you're likely to encounter is a session launch error, and this is associated with usually one of the following. And the session you are trying to join is not available at this time. So if the session's start time is more than 30 minutes away, you may get an error message saying unable to launch the session. Bear in mind that by default, sessions or links to sessions become live 30 minutes prior to the session start. But please bear in mind that this is only by default. The person that sets up the session has the option to change that for up to an hour prior to the start of the session. Another possible error is the fact that the link that you've clicked is malformed in some way, or it appears in an application that doesn't support links that wrap lines. You need to be wary of this one. And a related one to that is that you may have copied only a portion of the link into your browser's address area. Each session, the URL to the session can be quite a lengthy link, so it's important to double check that you've got the entire link, otherwise it won't open the session. And the last one is that the session has been deleted and is unavailable, in which case you're not going to get into the session anyway. So those are the typical things that can cause problem when launching Collaborate, but in the main we find that at the university Collaborate works very well. If you do need support from the HRD team, then obviously you know where to get hold of us on 52444. But obviously those are during office hours. And just to remind you that if assistance is required out of office hours time, then Blackboard Collaborate 24-hour, 7 days a week technical support line is always available. The university pay for this service, and it's a free phone number in which staff can get assistance very quickly. And all of this is available from the Blackboard Collaborate support portal. If, however, you do want to speak to me directly, then my name is Pete Unsworth, and you can get me on the usual HRD support number. Thanks for viewing this recording, and I do hope it's been helpful to you.